Hi, Trinity kiddos. Welcome to Bible Stories with Bekah. I have a great Bible story for you today about Maundy Thursday, which is the Thursday of Holy Week. But before we read it, I have kind of a silly question for you. Do you like feet? I have a hard time liking my own feet, let alone other people's feet. I think feet can look funny and maybe sometimes be stinky. But oddly enough, the story we're going to read today has something to do with feet. So make sure you listen for that. We are going to be reading from our Spark Story Bible again. If you want to grab your Bible and follow along, you can open up to page 462, and we'll be reading the story called The Last Supper. Here we go. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world. He wanted to share his last Passover meal together with his 12 closest friends, the disciples. Jesus loved his friends and wanted to show them his love in a very caring way. As the friends got ready for the meal, Jesus put water in a large bowl and knelt down on the floor. He wanted to wash the feet of each disciple. When it was Peter's turn, Peter said to Jesus, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus replied, "Peter, you don't understand what I'm doing now, but you will later." Peter loved Jesus so much that he said, "Then don't just wash my feet, but my head and my hands also." Peter wanted to be as close to Jesus as possible. Let me show you that picture. As they were eating, Jesus sadly told his disciples, "Soon one of you will betray me. One of you will tell people who don't like me where I am so they can take me away." This upset the disciples, and each one said, "It's not me you're talking about, is it?" When Judas asked this, Jesus gently replied, "Yes, Judas, you will betray me." Then Jesus picked up a loaf of bread. He blessed it and gave some to each of his friends, saying, "Take this bread and eat it. This is my body." Then Jesus picked up a cup of wine. He gave thanks and said, "Drink this. It is my blood, which I must give up, so the sins of people may be forgiven." When the meal was over, Jesus and his friends went to a place called the Mount of Olives. Jesus said sadly, "Soon you will all leave me." Peter felt bad. "Even if all the others leave you, I won't," he said. Jesus looked at his dear friend and said quietly, "Before the sun rises, you will pretend you don't know me 3 times." Peter said, "Jesus, I love you too much to ever do that to you." And all the other disciples said the same thing. So, in that story, we saw Jesus do a couple of things with his really close friends. He, as we all know, tomorrow on Good Friday, we mourn the death of Jesus. And the night before he died, he wanted to spend time with the most important people to him. And to him, those were his disciples. And he decided to do that in an interesting way. He decided to wash their feet. Now, in this time when Jesus lived, they all wore sandals probably, and they lived in the desert, and so it was really dusty and sandy. And so feet were probably pretty dirty and gross. But Jesus wanted to share his love for his disciples and show them how much he cared for them. And the way he decided to do that was to wash their feet. And some of the disciples, like Peter, was like, "No way, Jesus, you can't wash my feet. That's disgusting." But Jesus said, "No, Peter, I'm doing this because I love you and I want you to feel that love." The other thing that Jesus did with his disciples that night was share a meal. I don't know if you guys do this every night with your family, but I used to do this growing up with my family, and I do it now with Mr. Leafblad. We sit at the table for dinner and enjoy a meal together. And I think that one of the greatest ways to talk with our family and communicate together is to share a meal together. It shows that we love each other and that we want to spend time with each other. And a great way to do that is over food. So Jesus decided to do that with his disciples, and then he made a covenant with his disciples. A covenant is an agreement, a pact together, and he gave them bread, and he said, "This is my body broken for you. Do this in the remembrance of me." And then he gave wine to his disciples, saying that this is my blood. Do this in remembrance of me. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but on some Sundays, and on Maundy Thursday, we would celebrate Holy Communion. And I don't know if you can hear Pastor Elizabeth saying those words in your head, but she says, "This is my body given for you. This is my blood shed for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And that's why we still do communion today, because Jesus did shared that Last Supper with his disciples the night before he died. So today I want to leave you with a question. Jesus showed his disciples that he cared for them by washing their feet. And today I want you to decide, what can you do to show the people around you that you care for them? Maybe it's giving them a hug or a smile, or maybe it's washing their feet if you really want to do that. But make sure you share with the people that you love how much you care for them, and show it in a way maybe differently than you usually do. All right, boys and girls, that's all I have for Bible Stories with Bekah today. I'll be back tomorrow with our story on Good Friday. Bye.